Hi, I'm Laura Dockrill and I'm an author. I'm here in my partner's very impressive recording studio, which he has at home, where there's all this cool stuff. I mean, behind me, you could literally give me £1,000,000 and I would not know what to do with it except make an awful racket. I can't sing at all, which is probably one of the reasons why I started writing lyrics in the first place. I'm here because it's quiet, it's private, and it's away from my crazy 2-year-old son. As you can see, the work of his, the creativity flowing behind me. But I am really sad not to be at events and festivals, which is what I would normally be doing during the summer. I would have come off the back of doing loads of school visits and meeting young people and sharing work. And for me, I definitely believe that reading and writing, telling stories, is conversation, and I definitely think I've relied on books, reading and writing during this lockdown period to keep that conversation flowing, and I wonder if you guys have too. So I'm so happy that Cressida has asked us to come along today and join and be together to do exactly that. So I thought I'd begin by telling you a little bit about how and why I started writing, and maybe read some poems too. So here's a secret. My first job of choice was not actually to be a writer, although I absolutely loved writing and reading. My spelling and grammar was actually quite poor, and I thought, oh, you had to be really, really amazing at spelling and grammar to be able to be published. So I thought, what else could I be? And now I'm an older sibling. I've got a younger brother and sister. My mum relied on me quite a lot to help out, as you have to when you're little. Pass me that, do that, hold the baby. And I look over at my granddad and see this guy chilling, watching TV, picking his nose, burping, farting, stretching, eating his roast dinner on his lap. I thought, this guy's got a great life. Mum, I know what I'm going to be when I grow up. I'm going to be a granddad. She said, that's fine. You can do that. That's not impossible, but that's not actually a job. Because it's true, I did still want to buy sparkly nail varnish and crumpets. So I thought, okay, I need to do something else then. What else do I like doing? And that's the key, is thinking about what you like doing the most. And that's what you should try and aim for, to do the most of in your life. So I thought, I like buying stuff. I know, I'm going to be a customer. Now, again, the thing with being a customer, my mum says, is that money doesn't grow on trees. So what else do I like doing? I like being nosy. I'm like really good at being nosy. I'm like one of those people that hangs out in a supermarket for ages, like pretending to look at the yogurt when really I'm watching like a couple having an argument or something. So I thought, I know, I'll be a spy. But the thing about being a spy is you can't really wear colourful clothes. Like, you need to be quite discreet, and you also need to be quite quiet, and I'm a bit of a chatterbox. So then I thought, it really was a case of thinking, what job could I do that involves me being able to sit on my bum and burp and fart as much as I want till my heart's content, being able to have enough money so I can buy my sparkly nail varnish and my crumpets, and be nosy and get away with it and wear the clothes that I want and chat as much as and it seemed like a writer was the perfect job. As I said, my spelling and grammar, it wasn't very strong, and I really thought I had to get my I's and E's in the right order and know about my apostrophes, all the rest of it, if I was going to be a published author, a successful author. And a lot of the writers that were coming to see us at school, although they were published, they weren't necessarily the most inspiring people for me at the time. They didn't really look like me. You know, they were quite often very well spoken or old, or in some cases, a lot of the writers I was reading at the time were dead. And I thought, oh, maybe you don't really get a chance at this if you're a normal kid. Anyway, it didn't stop me. I wrote all the time. In fact, now if I stand up next to the notebooks that I've written, they're taller than me. I wrote all the time. I didn't worry about my spelling and grammar, but I just kept on at it. But I did very much see it as something that was going to be a hobby. And it wasn't until I started reading my work out loud, that's actually how I got published. And that was a real gateway for me. That was a real trapdoor. I felt like I'd kind of hacked the system. In this kind of Lady Gaga meets Mother Goose mashup, I started reading aloud. And that way, nobody could go, oh, you spelt that wrong. Oh, that doesn't look like that. That's wrong on the page. That word doesn't make sense. And I really felt that once I'd taken those restrictions off, that's when the best writing started to come anyway. So I thought I'll read a poem for you now. This is my book, My Mum's Going Down, which is based on my mum, who's the biggest kid ever to have existed. And this came out a couple of years ago, illustrated by the incredible David Tazzyman. It is based on my own mum, so please don't tell her that I've read any of these poems to you. Maybe it's too late. My mum has hair on her head, and this is what it's like. Mangled, tangled, neck is strangled, spider leg dangles on a string. My mum's hair is like Rapunzel's, with undle of bundle, what shall we do with it? Knit a scarf for a giraffe, a hammock for a swing. Sew a drawbridge for a moat, loop ropes for wrestling. Thatch a net to catch a pet, crochet out a field of wheat, or web a bed, a pillow and spread, and a set of hairy sheets. Mum says she loves it all winding and wrapping and split and snapping and climbing the walls, but I cannot stand it all crawling and slacking and making me late for school. It's a storage cupboard, a handbag to rummage like Medusa snatching snakes, a beehive, a tidal wave, a knit-infested cave. The rough scruff of trouble is a weed-breeding jungle that looks like the fluff in the Hoover. Like dressing gown tassels you would not want to battle, as you'd always end up as the loser. It's like her hair has muscles as she does the daily struggle of wrestling with this halo boss. It's bedhead or windswept. This head is a flea bed and is best to be shaved off. Sometimes when I tell people what I do for my job or I go and visit schools, some people say, oh, I'm not into poetry. Poetry's a bit boring. It's not really for me. It's not my thing. It's a bit dry. It's a bit old-fashioned. A bit annoying, and I totally get that. Some people are, or they think they are, allergic to poetry, and that's often because some poetry is a little bit allergic to people. Sometimes poems aren't accessible. Sometimes you feel like you need to be smarter to enjoy them. Sometimes you think, oh, it's a bit rhymey or a bit samey or a bit annoying, or it's going over your head. You think you can't relate or you can't attach yourself to it, and that kind of puts people off. Everybody is capable of writing a poem, everybody. And the truth behind writing a poem is really that just you need to write how you talk. As soon as you do that, you are taking those restrictions off and you're giving yourself such freedom. And actually, the beautiful thing about a poem is that it has no form. It doesn't have to rhyme. It doesn't have to have a rhythm to it. You can write nonsense and get away with it. What a cool thing. I actually think that of the literary book world, or the creative world of art form, that poetry is like the wind. It creeps in through keyholes. It creeps in through cracks in windows. It creeps in through brickwork. It's everywhere. It dances within the wind, and moves flowers and grass and water and hair. It's magical and it's everywhere. And as soon as you tune that antennae in and you start listening, you know, like this snail has that little things on its head, those two things. As soon as you do that with your ear and you start tuning in, you'll find poetry is in everybody's conversation. And then that is when it gets really special. The abstract kind of free-flowing form of it belongs to everybody, and it doesn't exclude. It's for everybody, and everybody can do it, and you do not need to be good at spelling or grammar to do it. You just need two things: your brain and your, or is it that side? Heart. That's it. I thought I'd read one more poem for you guys. I wrote this poem actually before I had a little boy, but I kind of guess it was aimed at those questions where that you want to ask your adult or your grown up and say, why is this like this? Why is that like that? And I think at the moment there's been a lot of scary things on the news and the television, and we have lots of questions, and it seems a bit fitting for the moment. So this is called My Mum Says, Oh the World, Me. The news came on by accident and I hated every second. I wanted to throw a stone and make a hole in the television. The noises were all angry there and blurred my mind and stole my vision. The news came on by accident and I hated every second. The colours were all chalk and grey and black and brown and sad. The voices were all angry there and bossy and hatter mad. And people that didn't look friendly were pretending they weren't bad. But you could see they were evil, Mum, and as cold as concrete slabs. I saw the newspaper in the shop next to the lollipops. I thought of rotting teeth and disease instead of butterscotch. The people shouted words at me of people without homes. Where are all those people, Mum? Where do those people go? Mum, look, I know you're not a normal mum, but I need to ask you why. The world can be so terrible and selfish at times. I need you to tell me why the world is a lopsided, wonky pair of eyes because I saw a newspaper in the shop, Mum, and it made me want to cry. Will it be like this forever, Mum? Is this the best world we can find? And this is Mum responding back. Mum, oh, the world, the beautiful, wonderful world that rolls and revolves and evolves. Can you tell that I really do love the world? I love that we exist even though I don't know why. We live on a planet that hangs in the sky, dangling like a Christmas tree on an invisible thread. Oh, I love the world, me. Oh, I love the world when animals are free and that nature makes cool things like cotton and rice and gems and honey. I love that water comes from streams and dreams are cooked up in our heads. I love that we invented chocolate spread. And yes, horrible things do happen and that is awful news to break, but there is so much left to live for. There is so much more to say. And you have to see the goodness. You have to swim in that. Because otherwise, if you don't, you'll end up going a bit mad. For every baddie is 1,000 goods. For every worm is a trillion fruit. For every door that shuts in your face, 2 more will open too. And remember, every single time you accidentally see the news, the bad stuff's the only stuff they show, you know. The good stuff is in you.